You're listening to Rockfight Radio. My God, is that Fitz's music? You know it is. Get ready for There's a Smile on My Toes.
Woke up this morning feeling so alive. Sunshine in my step, making my spirit jive. Whole foot comfort wrapping me so sweet. Dancing on clouds with every beat. There's a smile on my toes every single day. Cool and warm together in a brilliant play. Free range toe box lets my feet sing. Fits is the joy that each new step brings. Deep heel pocket hugging me just right. Fine gauge merino soft like the moonlight. Laughing and skipping, feeling so fly. In a happy place with every stride. There's a smile on my toes every single day. Cool and warm together in a brilliant play. Free range toe box lets my feet sing. Fits is the joy that each new step brings.
That was There's a Smile on My Toes from Fitz, because that's what whole foot comfort looks like. New spring styles are in stores now. Didn't get your orders in? No need to cry. Just send Judy. You know Judy. Everyone knows Judy. Send Judy an email at customerservice@fitzsock.com, and she'll turn those frowns upside down. Oh, tell your feet that we said hi. And now, back to the show. Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, he's here to introduce the most powerful tariff of them all, the Hausman tariff. It's Justin Hausman.
Oh my God, what if we could do personal tariffs?
How'd that work? I'm into it. Let's do it. Does that mean we can make some more money on that? I'm into it.
No, well, mine would all be emotional somehow, or conversational. I need to figure this out. I don't know, but like, if I could somehow have people talk to me 25% less or something like that, like I'd consider that.
It could be a parenting tool. Like you give your kids $100, and every time they like make you feel bad about yourself or angry or whatever, it's like $5. Let's pay the tariff, pay the parenting tariff.
That would be pretty funny. Maybe just teaching them about tariffs would be pretty. The thing is, I don't know anything about tariffs.
I've said tariffs more in the last week than I have in my entire life before this week.
Have you
guaranteed.
have you made like a dumb terrified joke yet?
Well, now I kind of feel like you ruined it. Like I don't know if I can now.
No, you shouldn't, because I'm fucking tired of seeing people. Are you terrified of the tariffs?
That's terrible.
Terrified of hearing terrified again.
Joke writing.
Tariff is the problem. Is it's a good word. It also sounds like Scarif, with the planet where the what was happening on Scarif? That was where the
why do I know Scarif?
That was where that's the planet in Rogue One where they have the big tropical beach fight. But I can't remember. Right. It was like was it projecting the shield for the Death Star?
I can't remember. I started rewatching Andor season 1, by the way, which this is a good segue to Andor. Yeah. And I think should we let our listeners know that like the second half of the month of April is just you and I doing a
just freaking out about
an Andor watch along podcast.
Yeah, because 22nd is that when it comes out?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh man, we're getting there. God, pumped.
Right.
White Lotus is over.
Disney, Andor's coming up.
See, I wish it was Netflix though, where they just drop it all at once. Because
I like that it's like slow.
I do like that too. Because I would watch them all in one evening.
Next time you come on the pod, you're just all haggard. You know, you haven't slept and like I just got done.
Have you ever seen that? Have you seen that Portlandia sketch where they do that with Battlestar Galactica? They like lose their jobs. I remember that. Battlestar Galactica was probably the first thing that I fully binged like that to that level, where I'd be like, it's 3 a.m. What the hell am I doing?
Well, anyway, today we're going to be talking about, we got a headline to talk about. We have a listener email to talk about. We're only going to do that for a few minutes because then we're going to be joined by Garage Grown Gear's Lloyd Vogel to talk about some unknown U.S. outdoor brands. We figured with all the tariff conversations going on, let's hit some brands that already exist in the U.S. and no one knows more about those than Lloyd. But first, follow all of Rock Fight's podcasts. You got The Rock Fight. You got Open Container. Maybe there's some other titles coming up soon. We'll keep you posted on that. You'll find out. But hit the follow button on whatever podcast app you're listening to us on right now. And then go back and listen to anything you may have missed this week. On Monday, we went deep into the tariff conversation. On Wednesday, we broke news about the brands for public lands. Open Container had an episode on Tuesday, so we got 3 episodes for you to listen to right there. Go check them out. And right now, Justin, he's going to tell you, if anyone's listening to this, they want to reach out to the Rockfight universe, what would you recommend they do?
Well, I would recommend that they start, even besides listening. Oh, reaching out. Yeah. I was going to say I would recommend they just start listening to the podcast, but they've already listened to the They're already listening to the podcast, Colin.
Presumably.
So, yeah. I mean, or else they're like in the room with us right now. I don't know how else they'd be hearing this. Newsletter.
There's a guy behind you right now.
There might be. There's a lot of flies in here, and I'm now realizing a fatal strategy to my outdoor office.
What's that? Just the flies?
Well, I'm going to have to get like the netting on the door, that Velcro netting. Anyway, newsletter. Sign up for it. I don't know what's taking you so long, frankly. I feel bad for you. A little embarrassed for you if you haven't already signed up for the newsletter, because you really missed out on a lot of epic content. And it's not coming back. The only way you can get it is on the newsletter. And so head over to rockfight.co. There's going to be a little pop-up. It's going to ask you to join the mailing list. You're going to say yes. And it's not going to insult you like I just did, but just understand that like it's kind of wants to a little bit. Like the pop-up is kind of like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, you get exclusive content. It's not just an aggregator. It's brand new stuff every week. And we're pretty proud of it. It's really well done. So sign up for that. What do you want? You want to drop us a line somewhere? Well, you can do that. We have a Gmail account, myrockfight@gmail.com. That's what I would do. What else would I do? I'd hit us up on social if you want to. Rockfight Co. Is that where we are on Insta? Nobody goes there.
Rockfight.co. Rockfight Co. Sorry, the socials. Yes, Rockfight Co.
Yeah, Rockfight Co. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Join us. For whatever reason, we're like, look, folk, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Rockfight's doing pretty good, okay? Like, we're good. We don't have to worry about us. We're doing good. But for some reason, none of you visit us on Instagram, like, at all. And I don't know why that is. But, like, true. Just check it out. For God's sake,
you're on some Instagram love.
You're on Instagram anyway. Just go over there. Exactly. I guess it's because it's all outdoor industry, folks. But our LinkedIn just, like, crushes. But Instagram, for whatever reason, I don't know what you're looking at. But it's not us. So anyway, head over there. Follow us there, too. What else? Did I cover everything? Is that everything?
You got it.
All right.
Yeah. Well, our top story today is presented by your hub for ultralight gear, Garage Grown Gear, and this is not like we're not like just Lloyd. This isn't the Lloyd Vogel episode. He really did want to come on and talk about this stuff. Yeah. And just so happens that his company sponsors the podcast. But head to garagegrowngear.com and check them out. And we didn't want to talk about, like I said, we didn't want to talk about tariffs. REI had an announcement today where they walked back their endorsement of Doug Burgum.
Scarif, that's fun. That's like Terrified, but it's also a Star Wars reference, and it's scary as well, like scary Scarif. That we can play. We can work with that.
You got there.
Yeah, I got there. We can do something fun with that.
How does this play into the REI announcement today?
I wasn't listening to you at all. What now?
Oh, well, no, I was just mentioning that there was the REI announcement today. Their new CEO walked back their endorsement of Doug Burgum. It's just been a lot the last couple of weeks, and we just wanted to have kind of a kind of old school like. We have to
acknowledge that but we feel like we should acknowledge that happened.
That did happen.
Yeah, I will say two things about that, and then we could drop it.
Okay.
The first one is I got a little chuckle when I saw. If you haven't seen the video, there's a video on Instagram as well of I'm sorry, you probably just said I forget her name. Mary Beth Lawton. Yeah. Wearing the REI vest, like the green vest, which it's just funny to me because you're like, at what point did she go, should I have a green vest on? Or did like the director of comms go, get her a green vest now?
Oh yeah.
But honestly, like they pulled it off. Like she looks like she looks like she means it.
Like, I like that they shot it in a store too. They didn't do it like in an office in Seattle or something like that.
Or like in the Maroon Bells or some weird shit. Like
right. Here I am at 15,000 feet.
It just occurred to me that was a bad call. Anyway, I thought that was cool. Also, I guess I just feel like it should be acknowledged. You can't really like take back an endorsement. You already did it.
It's hard. I mean,
but I'm really glad they're doing this.
That's it, right? I mean, look, and she's in a good position where she's new and she gets to say this. And it's for them, like anybody who else was on that endorsement, it's like 30 people. But they have a active customer base who has been merciless since this has come out. And for them, they're like, look, our customers are pissed. So guess what?
Yeah,
we're walking it back.
The market is speaking. Yeah. So good. I mean, I wish it had happened sooner, but hell yeah, good for you. Yeah.
All right, but let's talk about some other
stuff. Enough real news.
enough real shit. Well, this is real shit, actually. So according to Explorers Web, and this article was written by a friend of the pod, Rochelle Schrute, those crazy scientists, Justin, they're crazy scientists. They're doing crazy things.
Are you lumping me in with the crazy scientists?
You're kind of a crazy scientist.
Yeah.
Is a paleontologist?
Archaeologist, excuse me.
Archaeologist.
Gosh.
Which is cooler, an archaeologist or a paleontologist?
Well, paleontologists do dinosaurs.
Yeah, right. They're kind of like the coolest scientists.
No question.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, so apparently a new startup called Colossal Bioscience, which I think we've talked about before. I think they're the ones trying to bring the mammoth
They've been
back.
around for a while.
Yeah. So they're using, according to Michelle's article, quote, they've used advanced DNA editing techniques, and by sequencing ancient DNA samples recovered from fossils preserved in tar pits, researchers reconstructed a complete genome of the dire wolf, closely related yet distinctly separate from modern gray wolves. Rochelle also writes, this is also a quote, the project has sparked vigorous debate within the conservation community. Supporters view it as a monumental achievement in species restoration, while skeptics caution about potential risks to existing wildlife. I know we talked about the mammoth thing before, and you're a man of science, and we talked about this before, but like, is there a compelling argument for this type of thing to happen? I don't think we ever got to a conclusion when we've talked about this stuff before. Is there a compelling argument?
Probably.
Like, why?
Probably like species by species. The dire wolf, though, is such a weird. They're very clearly going for these like big splashy thing, like the mammoth, the dire wolf. Like, it's not like people are clamoring to have dire wolves back. You know, like we have wolves. You know, like
I thought they were made up for Game of Thrones.
I know.
I didn't know it was a real thing.
Yeah. So I don't love that they've got that. Just says to me like they're trying to pick sexy ones, which makes me think that your judgment is not great, right? Like you're not like there's probably animals that fulfill a very specific ecological niche that we need that are gone that you could have done this with, you know. But
we could create a bacteria that would actually restore this ecosystem. Nah, fuck that. Let's make a wolf.
No. Nobody's gonna put. Yeah, well, I mean, like it's all over the news, way more so than bacteria would be, and like there's already a big old thing in the New Yorker about it. So that doesn't sit particularly well with me. Also, I feel like I don't know enough to really understand. Surely there's potential implications if you just like release a bunch of new animals that have not really existed for a long time into the ecosystem. Of course, my concern though would be that this gives you sort of like almost in the same way that like geoengineering would, like carte blanche to just murder shit. Be like, oh, we'll just make new ones, you know, like seriously, like in an era where they're already going to start to like in this country, at least, they're already going to try to relax like basically every possible endangered species protection. Argument's probably going to be made. You know what? Fuck the humpback whales, dude. We'll make more.
Right.
We have the DNA. Like let's get all the crab, which is like or whatever it is. It's like, you know, we can't crab right now because there's humpbacks. So let's get all the crab. We'll let all the humpbacks die in nets for crab pots and stuff. And then when we're done with the crabs, we'll just bring the humpback. I mean, people will make that argument. So that freaks me out quite a bit. That's my main concern, I think.
The funny thing is, like, you can go back. So this is basically, we're barreling towards Jurassic Park being real.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is when that book was written, and even if you just go off of the movie, it's 1993, and the ideas were so fresh,
1993?
Right?
That's how old that is?
the movie came out in 93. Yeah.
It still looks good.
It looks incredible. But it's the ideas were fresh, like because it was a time when it's like, oh my God, we can make dinosaurs. Well, that sounds cool. And then so the idea of like the Jeff Goldblum character being like, hey, you know, you didn't think if you figured out if you could before you thought if you should, all that stuff. Well, now we're 30 years later.
Still haven't answered that question.
Yeah, but you know, we could make wolves.
But how cool would it be to see dire wolves? Yeah, I don't. I mean, there's what we would have talked about before. Likely is the arguments that exist about like why certain kinds of megafauna are really important for certain ecosystems, like the Siberian tundra, right? Which was like, I think that was like the original idea was, we actually need these big heavy animals that will help, you know, re-impact the soil and like keep that permafrost the way it's supposed to be and all this kind of stuff. So let's bring them back if we can. Versus dire wolves, which again, I haven't read enough about this. Maybe there's a really good specific reason, but I just can't imagine that there is, you know.
Well, then
it's like when they brought back the T-Rex and they're all, why'd you fucking bring back a T-Rex? Like what, like of all the dinosaurs, you know, like.
Because it's cool,
one. Right? And you can get more money that way. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a tired criticism that we're playing God, but that's exactly what's happening.
That's exactly
like,
what we're doing.
The thing that pisses me off about the world, generally speaking, is when people make decisions for us that we have no say in, like this. Like AI is another great example. Like nobody asked for that. Nobody voted for it. Like at no point was it asked, hey, do you want AI? It was just, here it is, deal with it. And like, that's how this is to me.
At least AI, when you really... I mean, if you really go deep on AI and you see the implications of it to like the medical fields and like there are these things that AI is doing or is being developed to do where it's like, well, okay, that's pretty great. When you start to look at that, if it's not just making pictures and like, letting us, create, plagiarize our term papers in high school, stuff like that. There are real world implications of it. I agree with you that it should be much more managed than it is. This one, I have yet to hear the argument of like, this is why we need X, Y, and Z. To your point, like what you just said about like, hey, we could use a woolly mammoth over here because it would help like avert the worst of climate change. Like, okay, but is there another way we can go about that besides resurrecting extinct animals? Like, it sounds like there might be a better solution here. I don't know. And I'm sure I'm going to forget about this, and then they're going to make some other animal, and like 6 months from now, I'm going to be like, hey, Justin, did you hear they made this animal now? And we're going to have the same conversation all over again.
Well, they haven't made a mammoth yet, so I don't know if it's harder, if like what the issue is. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, there's a picture in this article of the people like holding the wolves. Like, I mean, they did this.
Yeah, and so they're gonna fucking name them after the direwolves in Game of Thrones.
No, they did.
They already did that.
Yeah, Romulus and it's in the article.
And those are the names of the wolves from Game of Thrones.
And they said they did it because of Khaleesi's wolves in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, see, that's exactly the shit I was talking about.
Let me throw this one at you though. Given where we are in the world, where we're creating animals from scratch, and we have AI that is apparently like accelerating its like intelligence. Here are your two possible outcomes. Which one do you want to live through? Jurassic Park or the Terminator?
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, Jurassic Park, dude.
Or the Matrix. You can throw the Matrix. You want to be killed. You want the dinosaurs to take over the Earth versus just being wiped out quickly in a nuclear apocalypse.
Well, yeah. But
at least you get to see dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I feel like you hang with the cool ones. Like they might be okay.
But would you rather see a T-800 endoskeleton walking around with a machine gun, or
that's
a dinosaur?
I would die of fright. I would die of fright in seconds. I would immediately die. Like I don't think there's anything scarier than that.
All right, before we get to Lloyd, Justin, we have a contender for maybe the best listener email ever. This is from Triple Bypass. So I don't know what that is referring to.
I mean, maybe they had a triple bypass. They're super proud of it.
But they write, Dear Colin, look, I've tried to let it go. I really have. But every time you toss another one of your Colorado thinks it's so cool grenades on the rock fight, I can practically hear your Columbia vest tightening with bitterness. Like that's an accusation. I don't know how I feel about that.
But you don't own a Columbia vest.
Let me say it plainly. Colorado is that cool.
Okay.
Sorry if that hurts.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
we know the state smells.
You can end it there. I mean,
No.
Go ahead.
He has some good. He makes some points, or they. I should say they.
Okay.
We don't know. Triple bypass could be any gender. We know the state smells like pine needles and Subarus. That's what happens when you've got world class skiing, mountain biking, climbing, trail running, fly fishing, and a craft brewery every 6 feet, all with a view. We're not trying to be the main character of the outdoor industry. We just are.
No. That's California. That's Oregon. That's Washington. I mean, lots of places have those things.
And before you accuse me of being just another Colorado-based gearhead with a superiority complex, I'm also from Hawaii. I'm from Hawaii, Colin. Yeah, Hawaii. You know the place where outdoor isn't a hobby, it's a birthright? I was paddling outrigger canoes and surfing reef breaks before Central Valley Housman figured out how to pronounce Merino. Wow, you got called
Central
out here.
Valley, huh? Because I've even mentioned that I was born in the Valley on the show. I guess I must have.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So if I say Colorado deserves the crown, it's not because I read about it in Outside, your favorite publication. This guy's a good listener. He listens to the show. It's because I've lived the damn comparison. Hawaii is a paradise with a pulse. Colorado is heaven with a trailhead. You want to keep tossing shade, fine, but let's call it what it is. Classic outdoor industry jealousy, and you live in one-dimensional SoCal brocal.
You mean envy, triple bypass.
Because deep down,
God, that drives me nuts.
You know, if Colorado and Hawaii had a baby, it'd be the Chuck Norris or the Dave Matthews, Jack Johnson of outdoor states, and you'd move there in a heartbeat. You'd even snuff out that heartbeat. You may even snuff out that heartbeat there. With love, aloha, sweat, and altitude sickness, triple bypass.
Yo, triple bypass. Colorado and Hawaii did have a baby. You know what it's called?
California.
It's called fucking California, dude. It's California.
I love the lengths that this person went to write this. You could tell they listen. You could tell they have a sense of humor. And
no, that's great. It's a great email. Triple bypass.
That's really funny.
Somebody got mad at me on Instagram the other day because there's this guy that goes around asking people things like, you've probably seen it. He's like overweight dude with a beard, and the caption would be like, or the question would be like, what's the flattest state in the country? And it's all these, he's like interviewing people all over the place, and they'll be like, Kentucky. They'll be like, no, or whatever. And like the answer is, I don't know, it's Kansas or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, he asked one which is the least flat state in the country. By the way, I got it right. It's West Virginia, which I assumed.
Oh, I thought I would have said Nevada, because I thought Nevada had like the most mountains or something like that.
Yeah, well, it might, but I mean, I think it's like there's the least amount of flat area in the state.
Okay.
But anyway, and someone said Colorado. A couple people said Colorado, and someone in the comments said something like, I don't fucking remember. And I was like, and I responded, well, Colorado is 75% in Kansas. And so many people got so mad.
That's it. That's why we poke fun, because they're very
loved.
sensitive. They're very entitled and then very sensitive. So it's so easy to rile up people from Colorado.
Rules. Colorado
It's a
is very
great
cool in
place.
a
I
lot
love
of places. It's very fun to make fun of. I mean, if my wife is like, look, dude, we have to move because of my job, and the options are like Colorado or like virtually any other state, I'd pick Colorado.
Of course.
So,
Most of our ribbing comes from love, because we like going to Colorado, and it's a cool place to hang out. But it's just very
exactly
fun
right.
to make fun of outdoorsy
It's
people
so
in
much fun
Colorado.
because it provokes this kind of email,
exactly,
which is great.
Exactly. And obviously, Triple Bypass gets it as well, because they went deep on it. You could tell.
I'm curious why Triple Bypass moved to. I mean, it must have been a job. Like, if you grew up surfing and paddling and all that stuff, and you love the ocean, why'd you move to Colorado? Like, why didn't you move to California?
That's a really good question. Yeah, Triple Bypass, right
hit
back.
us back, Triple Bypass.
Yeah,
we like
why
you.
not California?
Also, now I'm reading it. Currently writing this from 9,000 feet while recovering from a trail and eating poke. I made myself. Where'd you get that poke? Not in Colorado.
I know, that's right. I like that I made myself. That's telling that he's in on the
You
joke.
took raw fish to 9,000 feet, like in a run.
So I think he's trolling Colorado people right there by writing that.
Maybe, could be. That's a good one.
All right, hey, let's get into our conversation with Lloyd Vogel and talk about some U.S. made brands. Today's episode of The Rock Fight is presented by Oboes, who is helping us ask the question, how do I love hiking? Hey, let me count the ways. Number 1 today, the oddly satisfying pain of a good hike. Muscles scream, but the heart soars. Number 2, seeing wildlife in their element. That deer is judging your pace, but it's fine. Number 3, the unspoken bond with other hikers. That knowing nod when you pass each other on the trail. Those are 3 great ways that we love hiking. But do you know about number 4? For every hike completed over a mile long during the month of April, Oboes will plant a tree as part of its Trail for Trees challenge. For each hike completed, participants will also receive chances to win weekly prizes from Oboes and challenge partners. Registration is free and open now at trailsfortrees.com. Participants can complete as many hikes as they wish on any given day, as long as each hike exceeds 1 mile. Additionally, participants will receive a virtual badge in their Trails for Trees challenge trophy case for each trail they complete, signifying how many trees they helped plant. Again, go to trailsfortrees.com to learn more. And number 5, this hiking appreciation moment is brought to you by Oboes of Bozeman, Montana, maker of the Katabatic collection that includes the Katabatic LT and the Katabatic Wind. Check out the full Katabatic footwear collection at obosfootwear.com. Oboes. Love hiking. All right, folks, let's talk about a game changer, literally. If you're a brand or retailer in the outdoor industry, think of Endeavor like the ultimate power-up for your sales game. This platform is designed to level up retail associates, giving them the XP they need to master your gear, sell more, and rack up rewards along the way. It's like a cheat code for better sales, making sure your products don't just sit on the shelves but actually move. Why is this valuable? Well, trained and motivated staff sell way more gear. Brands using Endeavor, like K2 Sports and Smith Optics, have seen better sell-through, stronger brand engagement, and real data insights on what works. And here's where Endeavor gets really interesting. It's gamified. That means learning about products and earning incentives feels fun and not like homework. But there's also a couple of other power-ups you'll want to consider. First is their partnership with Locally, so online shoppers can instantly find a knowledgeable staffer in a nearby store ready to seal the deal. Second is an option known as Freemium, where you can launch brand assets, push newsfeed posts, and coordinate rep clinics. And with Endeavor's pay-as-you-go plans, you can take sales contests, education campaigns, or collect staff insights collection programs all out for a test drive. The bottom line, if your retail game is feeling like it's stuck in easy mode, Endeavor is the upgrade you need to unlock next-level sales, max out your team's knowledge, and beat the boss when it comes to customer experience. Head to Endeavor, that's ENDVR.io, to learn more today. All right. Well, that segment, as we mentioned, brought to you by Garage Grown Gear. Hey, looking to lighten your load? Garage Grown Gear is your go-to hub for ultralight backpacking gear from the coolest small brands out there. If you're through hiking or overnighting, backpacking is more comfortable when you are carrying less weight. With free shipping on orders over $50, GGG makes lightening your pack an easy and fun experience. Check out the most specialty of specialty shops at garagegrowngear.com. And a great segue because Lloyd Vogel is now joining us. What's happening, Lloyd?
Wow, it's an honor to be on the podcast with you both.
Well, we got a lot of feedback that we needed more white dudes on the show, so.
Well, I certainly hit that demographic really well.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of feedback we heard. Hey, you're kind of up a lot of white men. I'm like, well,
yeah, but at
we're working on it. All right,
I'm
we're
bucking,
Shantae now.
At least I'm bucking the Gen Xer crowd here, and at least bringing a little bit more millennial sauce to the equation.
Millennial sauce is such a gross phrase.
Well, as everybody listening to this probably knows, Lloyd is the owner of Garage Grown Gear, an online retailer who we just were talking about because Lloyd gives us money to talk about them. And so that's not why.
I was going to say that's not why, but that is actually
why.
That is why that is kind of why.
He forced us into this, guys. Please, someone call the police.
That's how ads work, right?
Extortion. I'm not sure that extortion is a crime anymore in the current.
Oh, that's a really good point.
State of America.
New revenue stream for the rock fight is just,
extortion.
I don't know what our leverage is, but I'm sure it's something we get to get.
We're the ones being extorted here, Colin.
It's a good point. Now, Lloyd is here today, not because he made us bring him on, but because of all the uncertainty going on, the calls for reshoring of manufacturing here in the U.S., which is aimed to be, by the tariff conversation. I wanted to highlight some of the lesser known folks who are already doing that thing here in the United States. And since Garage Grown Gear is famous for holding up smaller and up and coming brands, who better to tell us about these folks than G-Man Lloyd Vogel? So we're gonna talk about some outdoor brands today. Well, did you like this assignment? Did you like this idea, Lloyd?
I did like this assignment. And I've been waiting for my call up to be able to be on the Rock Fight for some time now. As both a avid listener and a sponsor of the pod, I've just been twiddling my thumbs, staring at my inbox, waiting, saying maybe this is the week that Colin is going to email.
Well, first of all. Trust the process.
Okay.
Trust the process.
The farm system is established for it.
Exactly. You showed promise at each level. And so
caught your appearance on was it Justin Outdoor Pod? All right, Lloyd's doing okay. He's developing. All right, let's.
Well, I figured every time I go on a LinkedIn rant, I say to myself, maybe this is the time that I will get noticed, putting in the work that the Rock Fight will just think maybe Lloyd has something substantive to say.
This might be the first
Clearly,
time.
This is the week.
Is this Colin? Is this the first time an active sponsor has been on the show?
It really is. Yeah.
No,
so you're the first. No, this is
no. Andrew from Lives In was on.
Oh yeah,
and
was that before he wrote the check though? I think
sponsor.
This is maybe during a current contract though. Maybe it might be.
Well, we can discuss this at the next contract. When the contract's up for renewal. Thank you. I forgot that word.
That's right.
When we send it over, Lloyd, we did pretty well. But the episode you were on crushed it. So that's the reason right there. You got to double what you're spending, bud.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Well, we love supporting you guys and your shenanigans and all the wonderful work you guys do to actually cover our industry honestly and truthfully and with a lot of fun. So you give a compelling reason to be able to listen, and it's when one looks around the industry and thinking about things that you want to be able to prop up, it's not hard to look at the Rock Fight and say that's something that deserves to be amplified and deserves to be supported. So
thanks, man.
I feel like I probably don't get all that warm and fuzzy all that often, but I appreciate what you guys do.
Can I just say that we're genuinely shocked, not at the support, at the fact that you don't have a lot of other options, really. I mean, it's just it's
where are you going to go?
That's true.
Well, I mean, other than really at this point, other than a handful of podcasts, where are you gonna go?
Yeah,
where are you gonna read? There's nothing out there anymore. So it's like I don't. I mean, Colin started this whole thing, but I don't think it was really, I don't think it occurred to any of us, like when I first joined, that there's going to come a point in the outdoor media landscape where it was basically just there for the taking. It didn't seem like that to me, but boy, it does now.
I'll send outside a thank you card.
Yeah.
Well, you guys came into it at the right time, and there's definitely a real need for the type of content that you guys
Thanks,
make.
man. And listen, you're paying us, so like that's not me, like talking about your thing. Like, so that's like that's authentic, people.
That's right. I'm not getting paid to say that.
Anything, you'd be like,
to say
hey,
that.
I have some notes. Okay, here's how I think you could get listenership up. Thank you, though. Very much appreciated. And we do love our partnership with you guys. The parameters for today, though. We asked Lloyd to create a list of 5 brands that we're going to talk about that I really wanted to stress, and the initial list Lloyd came up with were like people you would expect, like folks we've heard of who manufacture in the US. But I'm like, no, let's get weird. Let's get some brands that people aren't as familiar with. Let's let the little guys have their day here. So the parameters were US manufacturing need to be made here. Preferably soup to nuts made here, some materials made here as well. But if they need it will allow for some components to come outside the country and have them be assembled here. Revenue under 5 million. I think I had mentioned to you, I would prefer like under 1 million. Let's go real little. But we needed to give you some runway here in terms of like what you wanted to talk about. Maybe that would be too low of a revenue number. At third point, the weirder the better, right? We can't just have like, oh, here's 4 apparel brands and a footwear brand. Like, last week you had us promoting a cook system that is accomplished by using the heat from your crotch. Do you know about this, Justin? You weren't on that episode. The crotch pot. It's called the crotch pot.
The crotch pot. Hey.
I'm trying to think if I've heard. I don't think I've heard of this, and I'm trying to imagine how it works. You go about your business. I'm gonna think about how that could possibly work. Yeah. This isn't an April Fool's thing.
Yeah,
is it?
I mean, it did start off as an April Fool's thing. I mean, don't Google it.
I'm not going to. I'm going to try to imagine how that might work, and then if
was that an April Fool's thing?
No, it started off as an April Fool's thing, and then people actually were interested in it, so they made it as a product. And I'd be lying to say if we haven't already sold, a couple dozen of them. They're niches.
What's a crotch pot go for these days? What's the MSRP on a crotch pot?
About $20.
See, I would take a flyer on the crotch pot for $20. That sounds like a worthy use of my money.
Does it?
Yeah. Also,
anyway, that's the kind of shit that we're looking for here, guys.
Yeah, right? That is perfect.
Yeah. So we do love a top 5 list around here. So we're looking for 5 names. All right. So Lloyd, let's turn it over to you, buddy. What do you got?
I got you. I mean, in trying to pick 5 brands is quite challenging, especially, at Garage Grown, we carry about 250 brands, and I'd say probably 150 of them have the,
meet the criteria,
the US label. So I'm probably going to be isolating some people here, but that's okay.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again down the road.
The fun of. Yeah. And I tried to pick a couple that I thought were interesting, doing some innovative stuff. And, I think one of the interesting things about having a global supply chain is that there are some brands that, their entire supply chain is in the US, but incredibly few. I mean, if you make anything with down, your down is probably coming from China, which is now going to have 125% tariff on it. So expect anything with down in it to get wildly expensive.
Okay, I want to stop you right there. I just literally today, my wife's chicken coop that she ordered online has arrived.
Oh, what's happening?
So I'm wondering though, should we pivot to geese?
Exclusively.
Yeah, you could become the source of down in the U.S.
Yes.
Yeah, you can start making like one sleeping bag
every 10 years.
Okay. Like, have you had the new
sell it for like $1,000
with the Houseman down? Oh,
yeah. Each sleeping bag is $1 million, and it takes 5 years to make. But
he makes 1 coat a year. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. No, but I think in thinking about it, these from the vast majority of fabrics are sourced from overseas. There are very few brands that are kind of entirely based in the U.S. So these are 5 brands that I thought, are just doing really interesting stuff and trying to pick ones that are on the smaller side. So I'm hoping. I think there's a good chance that you guys haven't heard of any.
I'm looking at the list, and I have not heard.
I've heard of one
of
them. I've heard of one of them.
Okay,
that's pretty good. Okay, if you've got 4 out of 5 that Houseman hasn't heard of, that's a pretty good list.
I mean, that's the funniest thing about the ultralight space and kind of the cottage industry in general is like, if you know all of these, and if you don't,
right,
they're just a couple of small random brands. But we're going to start off right here in the fine state of Minnesota with a brand up in northern Minnesota called Brottingham Expedition Works, and they make titanium products. So titanium sporks, titanium spoons. They make some saws. But like making titanium products is not particularly common in the States. And he makes products that, like, if you think of like a Toke spoon or like a long-handled titanium spoon, he does that type of a style, but he cuts holes in them in the stem to make them even lighter. And the spoon is boxed really nicely to be able to get at kind of the corners of a prepackaged dehydrated meal. So he does like long spoons, sporks things, and he also does like really small little stubby spoons as well.
Is this just one guy? Yeah, does he have like a team?
It's just this dude Pete, who for a while Pete smashed his hand with his hammer and was like doing them with his left hand instead of his right hand.
You don't want those. Hopefully you don't get that batch.
I mean, literally, we had a batch slow down because he's like, I can't make them as fast.
I want to know Pete's off quality numbers. I want to know what that looks like.
I don't know.
Pete, if you're listening to this, you need to start marketing these spoons to Marin County, California, where I live, because listen to me. This oil slick titanium, like, dude, like if you like everybody up here on their $12,000 bike has oil slick everything, and so that's what these colors look like to me. That kind of the rainbow.
Reusable straw and a spoon is like speaking your language in Marin, man.
Well, but I'm talking specifically this oil slick color. Like
it's the colorway. Yeah. By the way, listeners, we'll link everything in the show notes, so you can just click on it while you're listening.
The Prism vibe, like, I mean, the reality is that so much of the titanium wear that we get in the U.S. is all made in the same factories in China.
Right.
I mean,
I thought titanium when we got it here was I'm not being a smart ass, because when I bought my first wedding ring, I got a titanium ring. And it was like so much of it was scrapped or like made from like scrapped Soviet submarines. Is this not true?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the vast majority of global titanium gets sourced through China and Russia.
Right.
I don't think there's like a lot of other options for where the raw materials come from. I can't speak to the submarine nature of it, but that makes for a compelling story.
Yeah,
so I think we should run with it.
Okay.
I think Pete makes all of his spoons out of repurposed Russian submarines in northern Minnesota.
He sunk himself.
I know we're short on time, so I don't want to belabor moving on to the next one. But Justin, take a look at the link I sent you of the shovel they make, and I think
I'm looking at their whole shit right now.
Look at the shovel. The shovel is dope, and I'm not even I have no use for a shovel, but I want the shovel.
I mean, you could cleave somebody's head in two with that thing. He makes a lot of really interesting stuff.
You could. Yeah, I really like his stuff. It's just different. And again, not a lot of people making titanium stuff. So shout out to Pete. I struggle to say their name all the time. It's his last name. Brottingham Expedition Works. Check it out. Minnesota. All
right, who else you got?
I mean, you guys always give me a lot of shit for my love of Dyneema. So I purposely picked a Dyneema brand on here. All Man's Right. Liv and his wife Jen out of the Bronx. They make their stuff out of their apartment.
In the Bronx?
Liv. Yeah. No, their studio is sweet. They make so he's a classical designer. He went to Parsons School of Design, which if you've ever watched design TV shows, like pretty much it all happens. Designers go through Parsons. But he is one of our very few BIPOC founders and makers. He grew up in the Dominican Republic and makes amazing products that are just like very thoughtfully designed, from packs to food bags.
I love the shopping bag, the grocery bag.
The shopping bags, dude. I'm on there right now. And
I thought it was a legit plastic shopping bag. You're like, nope, that's
$87, but like, I kind of want it.
Oh yeah, but you can look so cool when you're shopping,
dude.
And so like, I mean, I think they have a small shop that is maybe not their apartment right now, but their apartment in the Bronx has been their apartment and has been their studio. They started off doing it kind of as a part-time thing, and then I think both of them are pretty much full-time at it. They had a kid who is kind of always hanging around Lucas. They should have named him Dyneema, but Liv went through there's kind of an incubator program through REI that specifically works with BIPOC founders and called Path Ahead Adventures. And he went through that, and he's been crushing it. Their designs are sweet. If they have a lot of kind of like Japanese inspired, very minimalist looks to a lot of their products, and we love selling them. Their steak bag is one of our better selling products. It's a very simple design, but it tapers so that your hand can actually get in the bag and get the steaks. And then it has a very like easy closure. So it's just like a very good attention to detail. Liv's a homie. He does really awesome stuff. It's
The
really cool to
backpacks
see
look
what
fantastic.
he's been up to.
And I'm shocked that you can get
Yeah.
it's obviously not made of. Oh, the backpack is in Dyneema? Okay, that makes sense.
I don't think they're
I was like,
backpacks.
God, that's an awfully
I
cheap
think they're one of the few
backpack
products
for
that is
$325, but they look fantastic.
Sure.
All Man's Right. Do we know about the name?
That's got to be a nod
It's
to the Scandinavian thing, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I think Jen, his Liv's wife, is Swedish, and I think it's basically. I think All Man's Right means like freedom to roam.
Yeah,
I think is basically what it means.
Almond's Rate is like a I don't know if Norwegian or Swedish, but that's exactly what that's their like policy where you can basically go anywhere you want on private land.
I love that, and I really like the way it's kind of a cool sounding name, whether you don't know what that means or not. All Man's Right's kind of a cool thing. So nice.
This is an extremely cool brand. I'm so glad you brought this to our attention. This is not the one I'd heard of. I'll tell you when we get to that one, but it's not this one.
Okay, exciting. Yeah, shout out to Liv, doing cool stuff. Also, side note, there's a huge Japanese ultralight scene. It's massive.
Yeah.
Like there is so much cool stuff coming out of Japan in terms of goods.
Is that the heritage of Snow Peak? Is that kind of like where that all stems from in a way?
Yeah, it's like a very, very similar, like very clean aesthetic, and there's just a very large through hiking culture there. And I think like, I mean, that could be an entire episode, but kind of Montbell, Snow Peak,
right?
Yeah.
All right, who's number 3?
Next on the list, I have Igneous Gear. So this is a company that recently rebranded from Common Gear. But they're a company that just started up in the last year or so from California, I think from the Bay Area.
Yep. This is the one I'd heard of.
Cool. Yeah. Ray is one of the cooler humans that I know, but he makes a lot of like really cool little innovative small products. So from ultralight repair kits that just have
these are sick.
Repair patches, a little needle that fits into a 3D printed case with some tape around it. It really is just like exactly what you need and absolutely nothing more than it. He has like a very minimalist first aid kit that he made. Leukotape spools that are just like smaller and lighter. Like, do you need to bring an entire spool of leukotape with you on a hike? Probably not, unless you're going really far. And even then, your feet probably acclimate after a while to probably where you're not putting on leukotape all the time, to a bottle cap bidets, to things to be able to hold your Canuck water bladders. It's just like very intentional niche stuff that, especially for folks in our through hiking community, you look at this stuff and you're like, oh, I actually understand where the use case for that is immediately. And I think he's just been very, he's made it as light as possible. I mean, a 3-gram bidet is absurd. And bidets are kind of absurd in general, but a 3-gram bidet is particularly absurd.
We'll have to get the Rock Fights expert, bidet expert, is Shantae.
I guess I have to try this now.
Yeah,
I love that the photos of the bidet in action is like spraying off your muddy, what look like mountain bike shoes, but not your butthole. But
that's good.
Yeah, that's behind a paywall.
Yeah, that's it. They do have an OnlyFans if you want to check it out.
That's their second. That's how they're getting room. That's how they're making their money. The Igneous Gear is just the front. But it's
that's right. It's I don't know.
Do you know
with
Lloyd? Real quick, are these all as far as DTC brands? I mean, I guess you. I guess because I don't know if GGG counts as that. If I guess you're technically like a third party, but I mean, they don't have presences in stores, or maybe they do somewhere.
Kind of in some specialty shops, but pretty much all of the brands on this list. Even I'd say even the last one on the list is just entirely B2B.
Okay.
Entirely D2C.
Yeah.
And I even think a lot of the brands that do work with us, I would still say that they are 90 primarily D2C.
Yeah.
I'd honestly say that the humorous thing about a brand like Igneous Gear is that we probably do a vast majority of their business through Garage Grown. So they actually probably are primarily a B2B business, but just because they work with us. Especially because like lower price point items, like I don't know how many like $9 bidets you have to be able to ship and sell direct to be able to make
I was looking at the prices. They make like 8 things and it's all like less than $20. So I mean, so I imagine they're selling a fair amount if they're kind of showing if they're doing okay. So like good for them.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing is like, you know, a lot of these brands, it's one of the reasons why they work with Garage Grown is that, you know, you can sell 1,000 of these units direct, or you can just send them in a box to us and we'll do it.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
In the case for wholesale.
I mean, it really is. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, brands like All Man's Right, they are primarily a D2C business, but they probably have a half dozen or a dozen retailers. A lot of these places retail internationally because international retailers can deal with worse margins because they jack up the price on top of MSRP. So a lot of brands in the ultralight space, they maybe work with Garage Grown, maybe 1 or 2 other domestic retailers, but then they probably have, you know, 10 to 15 to 20 international retailers that they work with.
All right, who you got? Who's next?
Let's go with Chicken Tramper Ultralight Gear.
I was hoping you were going to say that because this is a contender for best brand name ever. I mean, let's be honest.
It's pretty great. You know, Sea-Tug is what they are colloquially known as. They are a Michigan-based brand that kind of came on to the ultralight scene at a similar time as Garage Grown. So we've been working with those dudes for a long time. Austin and Nathan are good folks. Yeah, they really, I think, have done something interesting where they went really hard in on accessories. So from shoulder pouches to water bottle pouches to little wallets, they kind of got in on the accessory X-Pack game like way before anyone else did, and then have just like really built a brand around accessories. I mean, there's a lot of other companies that we sell, the ultralight sacks and Knopacks and Weebos that also kind of have their brand identity around accessories, but they really have scaled up what they're able to do. They've got like a fairly sizable team, you know, probably around a dozen or so folks that are working in Michigan and trying to be able to kind of do that at scale, which is tough when manufactured here. And their packs, which are sweet. Yeah. I hiked I through hiked the SHT a couple of years ago with one of their packs, but their packs have really kind of taken a back burner because their accessories have just been so successful, which I think is brilliant because the accessory market is only increasing. And I think as ultralight becomes more and more kind of a mainstream idea, more people are kind of compensating for small packs with more accessories.
I can see that.
Which,
I assume Chicken Tramper is a trail name.
I don't know. I think Chicken Tramper is like an Australian concept, or like the idea of like tramping is like but I don't know.
That's kind of why I'm thinking it must have been a trail name. Like I got the idea of like tramping, or like a hiker, you're a tramper, but like chicken is like maybe that was a trail name.
It's pretty amazing that it doesn't say on the website anywhere.
I will say too, I felt a little bad when I saw Sea-Tug, and I was thinking what the C and Sea-Tug could stand for. But then the first thing you see on their website is like a mom with their kid running around. I'm like, okay, Colin, get a little filthy there. You know?
I really want the this blue and yellow backpack. This thing is badass.
I just want something from Chicken Tramper Ultra. I mean, what a great name! Like, I just want such a cool name. Right? So yeah,
it's a smart idea because the second you ask somebody, "Hey, what pack is that?" You're Chicken Tramper. They're gonna be like, "I'm sorry, what?" And they're never gonna forget.
And they're like, "Oh, I have an Osprey." Yeah. Like, yeah, just lame. Like, "Oh, get a Chicken
Western
Tramper."
Forest.
Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, they do a great job. They show up at a lot of shows. I mean, all of these brands kind of in the small spaces are found at, you know, the Appalachian Trail Days and the PCT Days, which if you're ever looking to see, you know, we treat PCT Days, and I encourage any retailer that's listening to this pod to go to shows like Appalachian Trail Days and PCT Days and treat them like a trade show. Like if you want to find small brands in the space that are kind of doing cool and innovative stuff, go to the trail shows and show up like it's a trade show. Yeah. You'll have way more fun because, you know, it's like a literal party for a weekend. And, you know, we have 60 brands that are at Trail Days. Like I will be working that event and then, you know, hanging out and chilling in the afternoon. It's way more fun than any other trade show.
All right. Who's last on the list?
Last is a brand that we don't sell. We have sold them in the past, but Timmermade is this guy, Dan Timmerman. He is doing some of the most innovative stuff, I think, within the ultralight space. In terms of like a purely D2C brand, I think at times Dan's got like a, I don't know, 14-week lead time. He has to do like releases of availability for his capacity, but he makes yeah, I mean, everything that he makes, a lot of it's super custom. A lot of it is just, it's as ultralight as it gets. I mean, a lot of people have moved away from doing like Dyneema rainwear. He'll do Dyneema rainwear. A lot of his pullovers and down jackets are as light as it gets. And it's just, it's like really pushing, like his down sweater is like a, I don't know, like a 3-4 ounce.
I'm looking at that.
Sweater.
I mean, it's full on Stay Puft Marshmallow Man looking. I'm here for it. It is awesome. I just
totally.
like that.
It is.
It just reminded me of the days like in the 90s and 2000s when brands were new, or even like when hardware was new, and it was like, oh, you're wearing that, and to have that down coat with the Timmermade logo on it, like that's the one you want to wear. Like when you're in the crowd of outdoorsy people, like that's the brand that makes you stand out. I love that.
Yeah, no, Timmerman is definitely like the Timmermade is definitely like the, if you know, you know, like they're so super small, like, you know, but they just absolutely have decided that this ultralight space is the space that they're going to be in. And you know, the fabric innovation, the fit innovation, you know, a lot of those products are ones that require a bit of a high knowledge base, I think, to be able to use successfully. Like it's not going to be products that are necessarily perfect for everyone. I mean, you know, you look at quilts that are pretty trim, and they require, you know, understanding of how to be able to use a quilt and not be cold. And I think that's the cool thing, is that ultralight can be made more ultralight when you know what you're doing.
Right.
And when your gear is really working together as a system. And I think a lot of the stuff that Timmermade makes really allows people to push the boundaries of ultralight when they know what they're doing.
It's also not that expensive. I mean, comparatively, I mean, $300-400 for like a really well made quilt. That's like a mummy shaped quilt. I mean, that's not that much more than you pay for something from like Big Agnes or whatever. I mean, like it's not like it's $1,000 a backpack, or I mean, that's you know what I mean.
That is like, you know, the benefit of a purely D2C model. You know,
right.
I think that is a thing of, you know, a lot of, I don't know, as much as like people gripe about, oh, the middleman cutting things up. But I mean, if Timmermade really wanted to scale and grow beyond being a company that has a 14 to 16 week lead time, there would need to be, you know, he'd probably have to adjust what his margins would be. He'd have to restructure and rethink how he wanted to do that. But I think there is a fairly large subset of cottage industry ultralight brands, from the Mountain Laurel Designs to the Nunatech, that you know, they're able to sit there and say, well, actually, this is the size company that we're at, and that's fine. And growth isn't really a priority, so we're fine with this strong D2C model. This is where we're going to hang out, and this is essentially a lifestyle company, and that's kind of refreshing, honestly.
No, I think this is why it's interesting what you do, Lloyd, and what kind of the value like a Garage Room Gear brings to highlight some of these brands, because that is something that I don't know if the industry has really gotten past. I mean, you come out of the 90s and 2000s, and it's who's going to be the next billion-dollar brand, and everyone's like starting a brand to be acquired, and you kind of realize that by 2010 or so, like, I think we got all the billion-dollar brands we're probably going to have. You know, like there's a handful, we can sustain that, and so if there's where's the expectation? Adjust your expectations, right? It's like, well, I'm going to start a brand. I want to make a living off of that brand. How do I do that? And maybe that is where D2C can work out. If you want to scale and try and be competitive with the big guys, you're going to have to do things differently, but you're going to bring a whole host of other problems that come with that. And it's really a matter of like, what do you want your brand to be? And it sounds like, you know, 250 plus brands. I know you have much bigger brands on the website, but it's like, it sounds like that is kind of almost the ethos of what runs through Garage Grown Gear. Is it's like, no, these are just people who kind of know what their brand is and what they want to be.
Totally. I mean, we talk about that a lot, of like, what is growth for growth's sake? Like, growth has to come with a why.
Yeah.
Like, why are you growing? And for us, like, we're still growing. We want to keep growing, because as we grow, we become a larger platform to be able to amplify small brands. That is our why. Right. Is our brands get more out of Garage Grown when we are a bigger platform. And that's important to us. And we feel honestly like an obligation to be able to keep growing, because I think without us, a lot of spots in the industry are not getting the type of attention that they need to. But for a lot of brands, like, do you want your life to be more complicated as a $5 million company, or are you able to see your kids and, make a decent living as a $1 million company? And like, what are your objectives with your brand?
Sure.
And I think, we have a lot of brands in the in our little subsection of the industry. We have no $1 billion brands on Garage Grown. I don't know. We have Black Diamond. They're not $1 billion.
They're not $1 billion.
Right?
They would like to be.
Yeah, but we have a couple brands on our site that kind of fill product gaps for us. But we don't. There's no brands coming out of the cottage industry that are, big brands in our space are brands that are over $10 million in sales, and there's only a handful of those that have really kind of come out of that. So maybe that's a different segment. The bigger ultralight brands that have left the garage and gone to main stage.
Left the garage. I like it.
Yeah, the hyperlights of the world.
Before we started this, I kind of keep in mind I'm a little bit less involved in the gear game than I was a year or so ago. All right, a lot less.
Yeah.
But I'm not like scouring brands as much as I used to. I'm not getting PR pitches as much as I used to. And if you listen to the show and you hear about Garage Grown Gear and you think whatever, like ultralight, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, in the past I feel like these were often clunky, like not super slick, and like all of these like maybe you pick the 5 coolest ones you guys have, but these all look badass. Like they're like stuff you'd be proud to have. The design is really cool. Even the web pages are really cool. Like it has a very modern, clean aesthetic. It's not like some dude making like hemp sleeping bags in the back of his car or whatever, like kind of 90s level, like hippie vibe stuff. This is all very clean and very cool and stuff that you would probably really appreciate having. So yeah, I'm going to spend more time on GGG, just kind of looking for some of these brands. Cause I'd heard of Igneous, but only cause I live in the Bay Area. But other than that, I never heard of any of these. So now I want to find the other like 195 that we didn't talk about today.
Well, the funny part too about this was, Lloyd, like, cause originally we were like, yeah, what do you want to talk about? What should we talk about on the show? And I'm like, as a response to the tariff thing, let's talk about the US made brands that are already here. What do you think? And Justin's like, I think we'd struggle to come up with 5 or 10. I'm like, hold on. We're going to bring in Lloyd.
Yeah. Like I was like the first one, like I'm like, well, Leather Moon.
Because you're right.
Like,
I mean, I would have,
I know Danner makes some other boots here, like some of that. So the only one I could think of that would even have any kind of cool cachet would be like Eula packs.
Right.
But that's the only one I could think of. I don't even know if they're considered cool anymore. So,
yeah. Anyway.
All right, I got to bounce. Boys,
all right, man.
Lloyd, it was great meeting you. Thanks for coming on.
So good to meet you.
All right. It's time for the parting shot.
It's time for the party shot.
Do you have a parting shot, Lloyd?
I mean, I can always ramble about things,
That's always get a little rambling.
Mean, how can I not have parting shots based on everything that's happening in the world right now? I would almost have to be. Yeah.
Well, think about it. But I do need to. I need to eat a little crow today, Lloyd. I need to eat a little crow on my parting shot for today. Because last week for my parting shot, I took aim at Lems. Are you a Lems fan? Do you have any Lems?
I used to have a pair of Lems boots back in the day. Yeah.
So their footwear brand, they recently launched what they're calling the Switchback sandal, and I took a shot at them because that shoe looks an awful lot like a shoe from my favorite footwear brand ever, which is Bedrock. And seeing the Switchback sandal resulted in me getting emotional, I'll admit, because I thought they were coming for something I love and that I am protective of. Bedrock is a pretty small brand. They probably fit in on your list. They're made in the USA too. So they definitely would fit in on
they're a brand that we've been trying to work with for years.
Right. Well, and that kind of leads into kind of what I'm getting at. So they're pretty small as far as I can tell. They don't make a ton of different styles. Lems has a broader range. So it felt kind of like Lems sort of posting up on Bedrock's corner. And I reacted a little poorly to that because this week I got an email from the founder of Lems, a super nice guy named Andrew, who chose not to completely eviscerate me. He definitely had some choice words, but he also told me how he and his wife are fans of Bedrock and that there are some legit differences between the Bedrock Karen and the Lems Switchback. And if you go look at their website, you will see, yes, there are indeed differences between the two. But that's not why I'm backing off my, hey, fuck off, Lems, parting shot, which is what I'm doing. I am backing off of that. I'm walking that back, much like REI walked back their endorsement of Doug Burgum today. It's because this having this encounter made me realize that my stance on this makes me a hypocrite, right? Because despite the differences, the two shoes look similar. They do. You look at it, it speaks to me like a Bedrock does when you look at the Lems shoe. And if this were a case of pretty much any other two brands, I would be there with a tub of popcorn going full Godzilla versus the Titans, Ken Watanabe going let them fight mode. I would be right there going, yes, who's going to win? I would be so into it. Like, all right, man, hey, Bedrock, you had your shot. Now someone else saw what you've been doing and they're coming for you. What are you going to do? But because it was Bedrock, my emotions got the best of me. So I'm walking it back. Lems is sending Justin and I each a pair of switchbacks so we can judge the shoe on its own merit. Thank you, Andrew, for that. But I do want to say to everyone, Lems is not lame. They called me out and they were right to do so. So I suppose my parting shot today is for me. This can't be the rock fight without me admitting that I'm wrong at times. And I got this one wrong. I should have gone a little deeper into it before I knee jerked and was critical of Lems. So that's my parting shot.
I mean, Colin, not to force myself to have a reneging on something I say here in the future, but I mean, Bedrock blazed a trail for products like this to be able to exist.
They did.
Like Bedrock created. I mean, there's other sandal makers in the game, but this particular style and look is something that is credited to Bedrock. So regardless if this is a ripoff of Bedrock or not, it's definitely riding the coattails of a design style and it's going to profit off of the market that Bedrock created. Regardless of,
No, you're not wrong. And I think that's kind of why I'm backing off my, because I'm sort of Bedrock's had a 10-year runway on this, right? They've been around since like 2011, I think, longer than 10 years. So it's kind of like, hey, and it's kind of surprising to me that someone hasn't done this sooner, if I'm being honest, because the design just makes sense. And I look back on, producer Dave is a huge Teva guy, right? Teva was a big part of his early part of his career, and he always gets really frustrated that they kind of get left out of the conversation. I'm like, yeah, because they went from we did something new and different to everyone's knocking us off in about 10 seconds. And I kind of and that's just the way it goes sometimes. So, if I want to see what the Lems are all about, I'm going to give an honest review of them. And if I like them, I'm going to have to sort of own that, hey, man, this is good. And look, maybe it'll end up feeling really, really different than my Karen Pros. But I expect a little more of myself that I should have dug in a little deeper is what I'm saying. So that's my parting shot. All right, that's the show for today. Everybody, we want your emails. Send them to myrockfight@gmail.com. The Rock Fight is a production of Rock Fight LLC. For Justin Hausman and Lloyd Vogel, thanks for sitting in today, buddy. I'm Colin True. Thanks for listening. And like always, Krista Makes is here to sing the Rock Fight fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock fight.